Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Tonight is Thursday, October 5th, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Present.
Councilor Anderbois is absent. Councilwoman Anthony is absent. Councilman Espinal.
Present.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilwoman Graves.
Present.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Present.
Councilwoman Peterson is absent. Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo.
Present.
Councilor Royas is absent. Councilwoman Ryan. Majority Whip Sanchez.
Present.
Majority Leader Taylor.
Here.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Present.
You have 10 present and 5 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The invocation will be given by Councilman Pedro Espinal. Will everyone please rise?
Thank you, Madam President. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather here under your presence to serve the people of our wonderful city of Providence. Bless us and guide us to make the best decision for our residents. In you we trust. Amen.
Thank you, Councilor. Please stay standing as Councilman John Gonsalves leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read item 3 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of item 3 and move approval.
Second, Madam President.
The motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please read item 4 into the record.
Item 4 is swearing in of Chief Judge Emeritus Frank Caprio of the Providence Municipal Court.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So it is now my great honor to swear Judge Caprio in as Chief Emeritus of the Municipal Court ahead of, and I hope that everyone will join us for the court naming on October 20th. Your Honor, please join me down below. All right, please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Frank Caprio,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the State of Rhode Island
and of the State of Rhode Island
and the Providence Home Rule Charter,
and the Providence Home Rule Charter,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Volunteer Chief Judge Emeritus of the Providence Municipal Court
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Volunteer Judge Emeritus of the Providence Municipal Court
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Congratulations, Your Honor. Madam Clerk, please read item 5 into the record.
Item 5 is election of city treasurer.
Are there any nominations for city treasurer?
I'm sleeping over here, I'm sorry. I'd like to nominate Shomari Husband.
Second, Madam President.
There's a nomination on the floor. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please submit one ballot for Shamari Husband as city treasurer.
So noted.
Congratulations, Shamari Husband. Please join us to be sworn in. And repeat after me. I say your name.
I, Shamari Husband,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the State of Rhode Island
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the State of Rhode Island
and the Providence Home Rule Charter,
and the Providence Home Rule Charter,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of City Treasurer
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of City Treasurer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
This time, I'd like everyone to entertain a recess while we invite some of our honored guests to come and take some pictures with the council, including Shamari's husband's family, Nia, Ava, and Melissa, and the full council. Please come join us. And then Thank you so much for your service, Judge Caprio and Shamari, City Treasurer. We look forward to working with everyone. We'll come back from recess in just 30 seconds here. Thank you, Your Honor. Can I have another round of applause for Judge Caprio and Shamari Husband? And we're back from recess. Madam Clerk, please read item 6 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of items 6 through 19 and pass for the second time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller?
Aye.
Councilor Anderbaugh is absent. Councilwoman Anthony is absent. Councilman Espinal?
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves?
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves?
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson is absent. Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo?
Aye.
Councilor Royas is absent. Councilwoman Ryan?
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez?
Aye.
Majority Leader Taylor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas?
Aye.
You have 10 ayes, 5 absent. The motion carries. The matters are passed for the second time on a roll call vote.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read item 20 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of items 20 through 22.
Second, Madam President.
The motion's been made and seconded. Madam, discussion on that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer items 20 and 21 to the Committee on Ordinances and 22 to the Committee on Finance.
So noted.
And read item 23 to the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of items 23 and 24 and pass on a voice vote.
Second that motion, Madam President.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Majority Whip Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Today I would like to rise in strong support of item 24. Given that I am the sponsor on it, I just want to touch base on it and encourage my colleagues to support this resolution. So this resolution is a letter of support, essentially, in solidarity with the United Automobile Workers, the biggest union for automobile workers in the country. And right now, what they're going through is a pretty major event. They're currently, there's dozens of plants throughout the country, and there's about like 10 or so that are currently on strike already. So when you think about Ford, what's the other one? General Motors are like the biggest corporations that employ these workers. So the closest factor or plant that we have here is in Mansfield, and they've been doing picket lines already. So if anyone wants to join and support the workers of this union, that would be the place to go. But just briefly, it's just so important to stand by the people that make everyday essential items for us and support them. These corporations have been recording billions of dollars in profits the last decade or so. So they definitely have the means to pay their workers a fair share. And I think it's still so important, though. Obviously, there's nothing binding to this resolution, but I think it is important to show our support anytime that we can. We did a similar one with the Teamsters here in Rhode Island. So anytime there's ever a disagreement going on between workers and corporate greed, I'm personally always going to stand on the side of workers, and I would like to see my colleagues here on the council stand on the side of workers as well. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Majority Whip. Any further discussion on items 23 or 24? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motions pass. Madam Clerk, please read item 25 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of item 25 and pass for the first time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Aye.
Councilor Anderbraugh is absent, Councilwoman Anthony is absent, Councilman Espinal,
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves,
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves,
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris,
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson is absent, Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo,
Aye.
Councilor Royas is absent, Councilwoman Ryan,
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez,
Aye.
Majority Leader Taylor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent, Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 10 ayes, 5 absent. The motion carries. The matter is passed for the first time on a roll call vote.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read item 26 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of items 26 and 27 and pass on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 26 and 27? Majority Whip Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. So today I would like to rise in strong opposition of items 26, 27. And I mean, I've been pretty clear on my stance on these two agreements, and I will give credit where credit's due. I know certain people worked for 9 months or so to get us to this point. In my opinion, I think it's a okay point, starting point. I don't think it's the place where I would like us to be with these institutions. Some of the concerns, I mean, first of all, it's a 20-year agreement. I'm not sure if anyone in this room hopefully is not here in 20 years. Hopefully we're doing something else with our lives in an impactful way for the residents of Providence. I mean, there's a lot in here that, I mean, I'm not going to waste everyone's time because I've been pretty clear on those oppositions already. But I mean, the biggest discouraging part of it to me, to be honest, is kind of just getting something to us. And I know there was very minor changes, but just signing on and agreeing to it. This isn't something that the council, in my opinion at least, was completely a part of. When I joined this council, I mean, I understand there's going to be times where we're stuck in middle of a hard decision and a even harder decision. But what I would like to see is us get a little creative, think outside the box. I mean, we all know where our city's finances are currently and where they're projected to be. So from a financial standpoint, I mean, we're going to be struggling big time. And in my opinion, this agreement isn't going to help us out. It might look good right now. I mean, everyone's talking about a $200 million number or a $400 million number once you include the community benefits. But I mean, that's really pennies on the dollar when we look at the bigger picture. We have a $600 or so million budget that we need to fund every year. And in my opinion, signing this is going to make it very tough to not increase the residential rate. So I mean, I do have a lot of hope in the commission that my colleague here, Councilwoman Ryan, is chairing. I've been to a meeting and listened through Zoom, and we really have to restructure our tax structure, or else we're going to be in real deep trouble here soon. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, it's just so like depressing. Like when I knew this was coming down, like I thought we would be at like Brown University or PC, like having rallies and energizing the community. And in my opinion, I mean, this was done between government and these entities and no real community organizing or support behind it. And that's really the most depressing part for me, honestly. And I understand sometimes we got to make hard decisions. So I mean, it's obviously not personal. I'm going to be very excited to work with everyone here on the next big issue. We have the rental registry, the tax structure, and there's a lot of big things that we need to look forward to. But I'm not gonna lie, I am very sad that we are moving ahead with this agreement at this time. Just noting, I knew there was gonna be repercussions by not supporting this agreement. Certain people are not answering their phone to me anymore, but that's something that I personally will deal with at this time, because I mean, this isn't good in my opinion, and it is pretty sad. And I mean, I'll enjoy the next few days and get back here. We got a lot of work to do, and like I said, I do want to thank the people that did work on this, because at the end of the day, there was certain collaboration between folks to get us to this point. But like I said, this isn't where I would want to be. So with that being said, I'm going to be voting no on 26 and 27, Madam President.
Thank you. Majority Whip, further conversation. Majority Leader Taylor.
So I rise in support of both 26 and 27. As the Vice Chair of Finance, I thought we vetted it pretty well through all the colleges when they met with the council people, and we had questions for them. And also we had a hearing that the public came and both said for and against. And I want to thank the college students who came out, and they were very passionate and voiced their opinion about it. But in the end, I want to thank the colleges and the mayor for sitting down and talk. I know it's 9 months, and I know my colleague says that it felt like we weren't involved, but to roll the clock back, because I'm a little older than he is, 20 years ago, when they did this first agreement, the mayor at the time was Mayor Cicilline, and he signed the agreement, the 20-year agreement, without the council's input. So I thank the mayor for bringing it to us and making us feel part of that, because the mayor didn't have to do that. He could have signed this agreement as Mayor Cicilline did 20 years ago, and we would have been with it anyway. We would have been stuck with it without making only a few changes. But I also like to thank the colleges, because I know they're in the back, and I'd like to thank them for coming out. As a PC alum, I always say that a PC alum, when it came to the hearing, or just hearing people, they were saying that, PC's not giving enough, and Johnson & Wales not giving enough, and Brown's not giving enough, and RISD's not giving enough. But as a PC alum, you have to look in what they bring that's not in this agreement, is what they bring to the city. Obviously, Providence College, for the last few years, have been almost selling out the AMP, Dunkin' Donuts Center, Civic Center, whatever you want to call it. So that isn't in where all the people come to see these games, and how much, they bring to the city by going to different restaurants and stores or wherever they're going. But I just want to say, thank you for coming. I mean, could we have done better? I don't know. I wasn't at the meetings. But I'll go back to, I said at the finance meeting that my father gave me a saying, because I'm big on sayings. But he always said to me when I was younger, a bird in a hand is worth two in a bush. And I was like, what does that saying mean? I don't understand, as I got older. And basically he told me it's better to be content with what you have than to risk losing everything by seeking more. So I think if we would have seeked more, who would have known? If we tried to get more, it's voluntary. There's nothing that we can do in legislation-wise or council-wise. They volunteered to come in front of us, in front of the administration, and they're volunteering to pay. If not, then we wouldn't get 223 million or 400, the total. So I just want to say I stand in support of this. It's almost over double the money that we received. In the 20 years they were there, I heard a lot of things in the hearing about, well, what if they don't pay? It breaks the agreement. And I tell people that they paid during COVID, the 2 years of COVID. And I know they took a hit with all colleges, and everybody took a hit. But they continued to pay their money during the COVID. So I don't see them not paying, and that's about it. thank you very much.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Council President Pro Tem Pichardo.
Thank you. I rise today to address the two proposals before us. The proposal before us, and to say that I will be supporting them. Not enthusiastically, because, you know, after careful consideration of the alternatives and the committee's findings, I believe they represent a necessary compromise. In a world where perfection is rare, if not unattainable, and this holds true for legislation as well. And I have some experience in it, being part of the organizing through my young years in the South Side, then in the legislature, and found out that in essence, the art of politics and getting to a consensus takes compromise and negotiation. Our city, our residents, and our neighborhoods are in need of an upgrade in the quality of life, better pay, low to moderate housing, and safer streets. I believe that these proposals are a step in the right direction, bringing vital resources to enhance the services our communities depend on. The Finance Committee has brought these proposals to the floor without recommendations for a chance and to demonstrate their intent for us to engage in a robust discussion or debate or questions if we may have it. I also watched the debates in the forum as the public was invited to voice their opinion for about 3 hours, and I commend the Finance Committee for doing so. We all recognize that certain private tax-exempt corporations, or nonprofits as we call them, due to their substantial land ownership, significant revenues, and substantial endowment, should contribute more to our city finances. That's how I got involved in politics. Before, 25 years ago, and here I am today still wanting more, because I understand that our residents and our community struggle every day. 20 years ago, the rents around my neighborhood in Elmwood, South Providence, were about $400 to $500. Today, it's close to $1,500, $1,800. And I speak specifically of institutions like Brown University, RISD, Johnson & Wales, and PC, which collectively possess an endowment nearing a staggering $9 billion. $9 billion. The power of compounding will only see that these funds double in the next 7 to 10 years. When you do the math, we're looking at a combined potential of close to $20 billion when this arrangement reaches its conclusion. It is only fair that they pay more to increase their financial support through some type of formula or index over the years, just as only on the endowment. Not even on the revenues that they generate every year, close to $800 million. To put this in perspective, consider that the Rhode Island state budget stands at $13.7 billion, and our capital city, Providence, operates on a budget of $583 million. The 2023 budget was approved with a shortfall of, I believe, $7.1 million, and we said, go negotiate with the institutions, and so that way we can alleviate the hiring freeze. These additional funds from these agreements will significantly improve our ability to carry out the work we were elected to do so more effectively. These institutions, while they pledge to cooperate mutually, must work more closely with our city, especially the one in Brown and in PC, as I heard from my colleagues, especially even in Johnson & Wales by the water, especially with us as city councilors. Now, those of us who may not have a large institution such as Brown or PC or Johnson & Wales, we have a saying. It impacts all of us. Just because we don't have them in our backyard doesn't mean that we don't have a say. It is because it impacts all our lives and the lives of our constituents. These institutions' actions, often in the name of higher education and the well-being of our residents, have consequences. They encroach on our neighborhoods, altering their composition and affecting the quality of life, taxes, economic empowerment, and contributing to the ongoing gentrification we witness. While I understand that these agreements are voluntary, I also recognize that the future leaders will have to confront economic challenges. I hope that future mayors, councilors, and legislators will be prepared to negotiate and even reevaluate these contracts if necessary, all in the interest of preserving our city and supporting its long-standing people in our neighborhoods. In conclusion, while these proposals may not be perfect, they are a step in the right direction, addressing the city pressing needs. Let us remember in our commitment to the people of Providence and act in their best interest, knowing that these decisions we will make today will shape the future of our beloved city. And so I will be voting for this. And I know I've asked leadership and all of us, is this the best that we can do? And the answer has been yes. And so I am disappointed at times when I don't see the economists coming forward when there's a public meeting to talk about and voice their opinion if this makes sense. We didn't see that. We also didn't see members from, or at least I commend the members from the community that were legislators that came forward and said, we need more. But we didn't hear a lot from our colleagues in the General Assembly and other leaders. And so with that said, I will support these two proposals, and I hope that the future councilors and mayors can really step forward and the community continue to organize, because our neighbors, our neighborhood didn't organize. We received letters, but this should have been more participation from our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Any further discussion on items 26 and 27? Councilwoman Ryan.
Thank you very much, Council President. I rise in full support of items 26 and 27, and I want to commend the mayor for negotiating with the colleges and universities, and I want to commend the colleges and universities for stepping up and putting forth this agreements that are before us. It's not perfect, nothing ever is, but it's darn good, and we should be very, very happy that we have these revenue streams before us. I want to remind council people that when the mayor came to an agreement, we were briefed. We were all briefed on the math behind it. We all had an opportunity to offer changes, recommend changes. I have been talking to my community monthly about these negotiations with the colleges and universities. So I'm in favor of it. I support it. I think it's wonderful revenue. It's a wonderful revenue stream. I think that this pilot agreement is going to be heralded as one of the best in the country. And for that, I want to applaud the creativity and the tenacity of the negotiations that happened between the mayor and the colleges and universities. I know that the universities and colleges are here. I want to thank them. We look to them. They're very instrumental. It's not just the east side that is impacted by this. It is the entire city. This revenue stream is critical to the city of Providence and the taxpayers in the city of Providence. We shouldn't think twice about voting yes for this. It's financially sound. We need the revenues. It's a solid agreement. And again, I support it, and I encourage everyone to vote positively.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. You've heard it from my colleagues today, and I want to echo their remarks, and I appreciate everyone sharing their thoughts on this. So I also am going to stand in support for the proposed MOU between Brown University, Johnson & Wales, Providence College, RISD, and the City of Providence. As a councilman and also a stakeholder that represents 3 of these institutions in my ward, as my colleague just shared, I do firmly believe that this agreement is a valuable opportunity to foster a predictable, but also a fair and sustainable financial relationship with these institutions while promoting the continued growth of the city of Providence. Having carefully reviewed the details of the proposed MOU and MOA, I am also grateful for the thoughtful leadership taken by the private institutions of higher education, but also Mayor Smiley, his administration, and the entire city of Providence. This agreement, while not perfect, establishes a mechanism that does forge a greater partnership with these institutions to provide, again, reasonable contributions to the greater Providence community. And look, it's no secret that I've been very vocal about our large tax-exempt institutions paying their fair share to the city of Providence to alleviate the burden of taxpayers in this city. You know, in 2020, I was appointed to the Special Committee for the Study of Progressive Tiered Property Tax, and in a report that I helped put together, I made the recommendation of partnering and forging greater community contributions from these institutions to determine how they can pay their fair share and also ensure that they can bolster their contributions to our local community. Look, I grew up in Fox Point, and I've seen the rapid expansion of these institutions. You heard it from my colleague who mentioned the gentrification that's occurring in the city. I've lived it. So there's no one out there who can actually lecture me on what that experience is like. I've got family members who have experienced that. I know my community very well, and I think we're all reeling from those challenges. But I would say that, again, this is a step in the right direction. And I want to commend my colleagues for exercising leadership here. And I also, you know, to be fair, and also to Councilman Sanchez's point, we have to give credit where credit's due. You know, during my first term, I remember writing a letter to President Paxson asking her to deliver on former Brown University President Ruth Simmons' promise of funding a $10 million endowment for the students of Providence Public Schools, and she eventually did. And now that fund, it's a $10 million fund, pays out over $400,000 to $500,000 annually to Providence Public Schools in perpetuity. Now, many might say, well, yeah, that's a drop in the bucket. But, you know, as a stakeholder in this ward, I've also seen the rapid growth and expansion of the economy in Ward 1. $341 million invested in the Jewelry District, which is in our ward. You're talking $477 million in annual payroll to faculty and staff that contribute to the local economy here in Providence, and the myriad of other economic impacts where Brown is an economic driver of economic development like these other institutions. And more work can always be done. And I know that our colleagues here will hold these institutions accountable, and we will make sure that the voices of our constituents are certainly heard. But ultimately, the proposed MOU and MOA are, to use Pro Temp's words, they're a step in the right direction for the city of Providence. And again, I want to commend the mayor, his administration, and these institutions for their hard work and good faith negotiations over the last 9 months. I also want to commend the council president and the entire city council for their ongoing efforts to ensure that there were taxpayer protections for the residents and constituents in our respective wards. People don't see what we do on a daily basis, but I can assure you that we spent a lot of time talking about how we can continue to push these institutions. You know, a perfect example is, you know, the step scale on their additional contributions. We got an additional $7 million from these institutions. And I want to remind folks that this proposed agreement, it's $223 million between the MOU and the MOA, and that's a 138% increase from the combined. the combined 2003 and 2012 agreements. And additionally, there's a whopping $442 million in contributions from the 4 colleges and universities over the next 20 years. That's over $600 million. And I want to say that separately, the MOU between the city and Brown University will result in additional voluntary payments of $46 million over 10 years. Look, our lack of legal authority and leverage makes these voluntary contributions an important step in the right direction. We don't have additional leverage to compel these institutions to take to do more, and I would say we can't squander this opportunity. So we have to look at the big picture here, and I want to thank the members of our community, each and every one of you who came out in support, in opposition, to ensure that your voice was heard. We listened to your voices loud and clear, and while not perfect, striking this agreement, again, will be a win for the city of Providence. So I want to commend these tax-exempt institutions. The work is just getting started. Remember, we're going to be involved in the process around critical public service funding, community contributions to support K-12 education, infrastructure improvements, and initiatives that will support quality of life across the city. And in conclusion, I want to say thank you to everyone who was involved in making sure that this was a fair and equitable agreement. I know that we could have done more, but I really believe that this is a step in the right direction. So again, I firmly believe that this agreement will foster a constructive partnership and contribute to the continued prosperity of all of our communities here in the city of Providence. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Graves, did I see your hand? Sorry.
I'm going to rise in agreement with 27. I don't want to penalize other colleges because most of the complaints that we had or the problems seem to be mainly pointed toward the Brown. We all know Brown has a different amount of money than all the rest of them. Brown and babies. That's what I'm going to vote for. I do believe that Brown, but we're getting something. A lot of the people tend to believe that colleges, so a lot of them we had to educate. State can tax them, the federal government can tax them, but we can't tax them. So we can't make them do anything into something. And hopefully we'll get some stuff together, or we can probably take some of the city things that we for them. But even that, that's spiteful to me. If we don't get something, then you're being spiteful because you. I couldn't see doing that at all. So I'm voting for the MOU. I was up in the air about the MOA. I really was. And if I hadn't spoken to the 2 councilors that really are in that area, I would have said no. But I am going to vote for it because it really affects their area more than ours. People say, well, the money's going all throughout throughout the city. But we have to realize that money's not everything. You gotta let something go. But if they spoke to their constituents and their community thinks this is a good idea, and it's their community that's really being affected, then I'm going to honor what they said. I talked to Helen, our councilwoman. I can't even think of her name, and apologize. But and I spoke to Councilman Guy. They're the two that said yes, they are voting for it. So if they are voting for it, then I will support them and vote for it also. I'm not happy with a lot of the things. I'm not happy with the length of times. I'm not happy with the taking over of streets. I'm not happy with a lot of things. But as Councilwoman Ryan said, we're not going to get everything. We're not going to get everything. So we have to take what we can get and continue talking to the colleges, and maybe they will come up with something else in those 20 years. I also think, and I may be wrong, but I'm hoping and praying that, because I want to be around. 20 years from now, I'll be 90 years old. I am around, I'm probably going to be docile, senile, and everything else. So to be truthful, it won't affect me. It's going to affect our generations. We have to keep that in mind when we keep. Have to think about that. Have to be more transparent. I do believe that it might break this over. It may not be fair. Kids are getting smarter and smarter, and they'll come up with a way to get people to give. If they don't want to give from their heart, in my area, does a wonderful job in the community. I have no complaints at all. They help out in all the little things, every big thing that we do, an event. I have no complaints about their community, sir. But I just think that if we're going to be, that's what the people need to come up with. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Councilman Espinal.
Thank you, Madam President, and I do rise in support of 26 and 27, and I rise also with gratitude. Gratitude to the Smiley administration for involving the council, which we all know and understand that had not been the practice of the past. The negotiating team, great job, as well as the 4 colleges and universities that took part of this, as they realized that they are part of our city. The city need to thrive, and they want to grow with us. I think it was a good faith negotiation. It's a voluntary payment, which means that they don't have to do. So that's why I'm so grateful to them for sticking through all the negative comments and that they got during the public hearing and other things. But they stayed, and they put a wonderful, in my view, proposal together. I'm also grateful to you, Council President, because there was an amendment that you made that really made a difference for our city. So when the first time I met and went through the details of this agreement, I knew that it was a good deal. So right from the onset, right from the beginning, I decided to support this. Under the circumstances that we are under today, legally and financially, this is the very best deal that we could possibly get. That I am grateful to everyone that played a role in this, and I'll be voting for it. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion? Councilman Vargas?
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today in the name of my constituents that are going to make a decision today, and I don't know what kind of decision I will make. But I ask the colleges to think about it, that we need more help, because our property taxes are getting high and higher. Enough is enough, and I wish to have a non-profit institution that can make money too, though. I wish. But it's something that I'm going to be working in the next 20 years, because when the 20 years come, I hope I can have one, even in a church. That way we'll be a bless. And these two agreements, I applaud the administration that they did a great job talking and bring them to the table. And I also support the colleges for coming to the table to support our city. Our city is in deep, deep trouble. We need all the help that we can get. It's rather have the chicken than the egg. And it's very important for us to keep working, looking for solutions, looking for different ways how we can help our city. And that goes to everyone who works for the city, who work in the city, and myself, that I am an elected official that who represent my Ward 15, and I know what my people is going through though. They work in 1 and 2 and 3 jobs just to pay the mortgages, to pay taxes, to pay the water, to pay the sewer. And now that we pay more electricity, it's getting tough. We need help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Aye.
Councilor Anderbois is absent. Councilwoman Anthony is absent. Councilman Espinal.
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves.
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves.
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson is absent. Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo.
Aye.
Councilor Royas is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez.
Nay.
Majority Leader Taylor.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes, 1 nay, 5 absent. The motion carries. The matters are passed on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please read item 28 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of items 28 through 37.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the items pass. Madam Clerk, please refer items 28 through 34 to the Committee on Ordinances. 35 severally refer to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suits. And 36 and 37 note as received.
So noted.
And please read item 38 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of item 38 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please read item 39 into the record.
Madam President,
Majority Leader Taylor.
motion to waive the reading of item 39 and pass on a unanimous rising vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And Madam President, before we adjourn, I would like to, we have a few birthdays. Some have passed, some are coming up. So we have, I'd like to wish, if we could all sing afterwards to everybody, happy birthday to Ann Quinterno. I don't know where she went running. She's running for the door. Here she is, Ann Quinterno. Her birthday was last week, is that correct? Last week was your birthday? Last Wednesday was her birthday. And a quick story is that she doesn't really know me that well, but she was in the hallway with some balloons, and I said, "What's going on?" And she says, "Oh, I got to put these in my office. I don't want anybody to know it's my birthday." I said, "Really? You're telling the wrong guy, because there's 3 forms of communications: telephone, telegraph, and tell Jim Taylor." So I hollered downstairs, and I think Matt and somebody, Bob Azar was down there, and I said, "Hey, did you know it's Ann's birthday today?" So we put her on blast. So Also, we have Anna Vargas's birthday. She's out on a cruise, so hopefully she's watching it on YouTube, and wish her a happy birthday. And also, we have next Wednesday that I'd like to get a picture afterwards, after we sing and adjourn. Our council president, Rachel Miller's birthday, is Wednesday, October 11th. So if you could all join in and wish everybody a happy birthday, I'd appreciate it, and I'll start it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Anna and Rachel. Happy birthday to you. And we have a citation here that we'll take a picture in a minute. Uh-oh, look, she's going to blow out the candle. Make a good wish. We're all watching you. A good wish. There you go. Okay, Madam President, if there's no further business, I'd like to adjourn in memory of retired firefighter William Red O'Neill and Lester W. Hazard, Sr.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you all so much.